thanks once again for joining us here, and which is why I come to my first question. This is slightly related on the personal level also, because I wanted to be a pilot myself, and which is why I ask you, throughout your journey, what are the challenges that you face to actually reach where you have?
Thank you very much for having me over here and such big words. But I think these are the words which any Indian girl, Aap Bharat ki beti, can own if she just walks the path of her ambition and dreams. And I think which is where role models play such a huge role. Being a representative of whosoever you are, whichever field you are an expert at, they can really create that change in the society. And I think challenges are there everywhere. And it is up to the women who have succeeded in their endeavors in a particular field, so that they can go out and inspire the other children. Being a woman in a field like aviation, back in my days, well, I was a minority. I was amongst a handful of women pilots to join Air India. I was one of the youngest. I used to wear earrings and makeup, and I used to hear that, oh, we're not used to seeing a girl dress up like that. And in all my naivety, I told them, oh, get used to it. But here I am following that path. I think women can do incredible things if they are allowed to soar high with the gifts of education and encouragement by the society and their parents.
Yes, and Captain Zoya, like we were discussing earlier, that how challenging it was back in the day to become a woman pilot. Talk to us about how there is still a gender disparity, given that, like we were discussing about the statistics, that women pilots only comprise 15% in the country.
Absolutely. I think 15% is a very high percentage. In fact, I'm so proud that India, as a country, we are globally the highest percentage of women pilots in the world. But however, I think that 15% came with a lot of struggle, a lot of work by a lot of incredible women before me. And then we kind of paved the way for more and more women to follow their ambition and their path of their dreams. However, when I joined Air India, as I was telling you, being in the minority, I am very, very proud and happy to say that Air India was an equal opportunity employer back then. And I think it played a huge role where today, coming from such low percentages of women pilots back in the days, today we are sitting at the world's highest. So it kind of became a role model for other airlines to follow. And it's never easy, but I think we can definitely make it 50%. Until then, I'm not sitting quiet. 15% is nowhere close to where I would like to see India represented in the world.
Oh yes, that is certainly something you must aim for, and all of us must aim for. But also share with us the experience of commanding the longest flight over the North Pole, and that too with an all-women crew. What are the inside stories that are not in the public domain?
Well, lots. I think it was a technically very challenging route, and I'm really grateful to my airline to give me the opportunity to fly this particular route, and also open up the stage to be able to leverage this route on a more frequent basis, which saves our esteemed guests a lot of time and resources as well. The challenges were many, but there are no challenges which cannot be overcome with hard work and perseverance. And I think that's where we all work together as a team. And I'm so incredibly proud that we could make this happen just when the COVID cloud was lifting off. The whole world knew that Air India was flying one of the world's longest, Air India's longest flight between the two Silicon Valleys of San Francisco to Bengaluru, and creating world aviation history. All the passengers knew. They were very excited. I think every 10 meters we were being stopped by the passengers for a selfie. And one more world record I think we created that day was to make the most number of public announcements to share really with our guests that, what they're seeing outside, the Aurora Borealis flying over the North Pole, when you go to the North Pole and come down on the other side of the world, the entire world was fascinated to have this beautiful new welcome change after the COVID cloud. And I'm really, really happy to be a part of the change.
You have another feather to your cap. You also represent in the United Nations. How are you reaching out to women, one? And also tell us, how did you get the name Bharat Ki Beti?
So Bharat Ki Beti name was after this world historic flight that we flew. Pradhan Mantri Modi ji kind of gave this name. And I'm really humbled by the whole history behind it. Honestly, I feel that it's a responsibility for me to be able to bring that change in every single Bharat ki beti who is there today, where I can inspire them to do more and be the best version of themselves and truly make our country shine. And as far as the UN is concerned, again, humbled to be on the stage with them. I represent Sustainable Development Goal 5, which is for gender equality. And we want to empower as many girls to be equal and pursue their respective career, which is why I said I'm not stopping unless we get to the 50% goal. So gender equality is the way to go until we don't empower our young girls with every single resource and encourage them that they can be anything they want. We possibly cannot reach that goal. So it's always very, very important for every single person who's watching this. I would like to appeal to every single Indian citizen to come together and encourage their child, not view them as girl or a boy, but encourage them as a child to go and follow their dreams so that they can really soar super high in the skies.
Zoya, tell us a little more about the work that is going into achieving this goal, and how are you spreading the message? Also, when you realize that you're a part of the prestigious SFO Aviation Museum, what were your thoughts?
I think gratitude is an overwhelming word of my life. I'm just so grateful. Like, I could have never thought a girl who dreamt to touch the stars could have reached all these places. It still feels like a dream. But I feel this dream is there for a reason. It's a responsibility to be able to empower other girls who are watching me as their role model. I was not a social media person. I was nowhere out, but somehow my story came out and kids started writing to me, if you can follow the flight of your dreams, so can I, you know. And that to me is the real change maker in this world. So I think anyone who represents and who is excelling in their field can be a role model. I think representation is so important, where we need to inspire the future generations who are going to be building our country and the world to be able to be whosoever they want to be. And if you cannot see that, you cannot be that. So the whole point is anyone who is at the champion of their careers should be out there as a role model to spark the change, saying that if you can see me, you can be me.
Yes, and you know, talking about making a change, you did mention earlier how you're reaching out to young girls who come from humble dwelling. You're reaching out to young girls who live in slums in Mumbai. Talk to us about how the journey has been so far, and interesting anecdotes that you can share with us about the dreams of these young girls who come from these humble backgrounds.
I have always felt that true success is never about really doing things for yourself, but for the larger society and for the people who are there. And I myself went through a phase where I had to struggle to fight against the societal norms, where I had to climb those walls of challenges. I feel when I kind of got out in the limelight that if my journey was like that, why should this be the story of every single Indian girl? We're talking about tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, even big cities where women who are at a certain place, you know, they belong to disadvantaged backgrounds, their future is written off. You know, they think they can never really contribute effectively to the economy, which is not the case. They are the girls who are as entitled as any one of us with dreams, and their dreams are valid. So I made it a mission that no other girl will have to go through the same struggle that what I did. And I have a non-profit which is called Udaan Pari. Through that, there was a young girl from Dharavi slums. Her name is Nadrat. And she reached out to us through my airline when I was at Columbia doing my MBA. And she's like, if I don't meet Captain Zoya, I'm not moving from here. And she did that for 5 days in a row outside Air India's headquarters. And when I got the message, I'm like, this is the girl who's going to change the world. This is the girl who's going to make India shine. And we must invest in the future of our country, of our nation. So she is undergoing the flying training to become a pilot at Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Udaan Academy. And her mother is a cleaner. She doesn't even have a bed in her own house. But coming from there, very soon, in her next year or two, she's going to be a professional pilot and staying in the best of the places, earning wages which are way, way beyond that what she has seen growing up in her house, which is not just going to change her life, but generations across and also inspire all the Bharat Ki Betis who are seeing her journey. You know, that if she can do it, so can I. So we are creating the change for the future of Shining India.
That is wonderful. It is wonderful. You know, Zoya, I have also had the good fortune to interact with women pilots in the studio at Republic, captains who are also now fighter pilots in the Air Force. And they have reflected a similar sentiment that while a lot has changed on the ground, there is still scope for a lot more. Please do talk about that.
Absolutely. I think from the point when I was in aviation industry, where I was super young amongst a handful of women pilots in Air India, I would like to talk from my lens. And I have seen a huge change. Today, we are the champions in the aviation figure. We are standing tall, the highest in the world, and that's where Indian flag is. I am super proud as an Indian to be able to see that change, witness our pioneering of Indian flag. However, there is so much of work to be done. The scope is 35% more. If we have to reach gender equality, we have to work so that our girls are 50% of the workforce. Until then, there is all the scope that is out there on the table. And for that, all of us as a society, every single Indian national has to come together. So our India truly shines globally.
Yes. And you know, a lot of young women who are watching this broadcast who want to do same like you, they want to become women pilots. Talk to us about the challenges that come their way, be it the resources, because you also mentioned that how you struggled with the resources, with the financial constraints that were there. If one wants to become a woman pilot, how does one ensure that the person gets enough funds if that person does not have to be able to reach the place where you are right now?
I would humbly request, firstly, it's never a woman pilot. Any girl who is watching, who wants to fly, you're a pilot, you'll be a professional. Think about it. The airplane seat doesn't know if it's a man or a woman flying it. So just be a proud pilot on the way to that. Today, there are many, many companies who offer like loans to be able to become a pilot. So I would request them to take that. It's a very gratifying career. Indian aviation industry is booming. In a few years, we are probably going to be the third highest in the world, third biggest Indian aviation industry across the world. And it's an exciting time where you can be a part of this change and the growth of aviation industry.
So yeah, tell us a little more about your family, how you managed to divide time between both places, and the toughest challenges you faced while taking a particular flight. What comes to your mind?
So my journey started when I was 8 years old. I wanted to touch the stars. That's all that I wanted to do. And I thought maybe if I can fly an airplane, I can possibly do that. And I think, you know, the innocence in the eyes of the child of an 8-year-old who just wants to dream. But God was kind enough to give me that spirit. I did not know English at that point in time. I didn't have resources. But there was an inner voice which kind of guided me that there's nothing which is impossible. It's always I am possible, and just go ahead and do it. And I think on the way to that, I made my mom cry initially because I'm from a very conservative background. Why does she want to become a pilot? Who wants to become a pilot? Why do I have a dysfunctional child? But I think it's the dysfunctionality. What she was reading, it was the passion to do whatever I wanted to do the high flights that have got me here today. And I think anything which is truly rewarding is never without a challenge. And life is a sinusoidal curve. You know, you have to go down and you have to come down to go up again. And I truly feel challenges are just a part of any successful journey. And as far as our families are concerned, the timing, as a pilot, yes, you have very different kind of a schedule. Like, we don't have 9 to 5. We have, like, it's more flight focused, depending on whether you fly international or domestic. It could vary a lot, right? But if you have the passion, you can do anything you want. And to me, a job has never felt like a job. It's been like a part of my life which I always have a huge smile on my face whenever I'm wearing that resplendent uniform, because I know when I walk into the airport on my way to the airplane, I'm going to inspire so many of those young kids who will contribute to the future of Indian aviation industry.
Yes, and your last message to the young women that it should be the passion that should drive one to work and not think of it as a job. It's only then I think that you try looking at something as that sky is definitely not the limit and there is so much more to do.
Absolutely. I think sky is never the limit. It's you who sets limits on yourself. So please don't do that, because you truly are limitless. If you do something as a job, you'll only get here. But if you do something with true passion, well, you know, the sky is even not the limit. And I think that's what we should inspire the future generations to be that change, to have that passion for whatever you're doing, and just to go fly super high. And remember, if you can see me, if you can see her and her, you can be like all of us. You just have to dream it and be very, very stuck on your dreams and just follow it and do it.
So yeah, it's been so wonderful talking to you. And I said for a reason when I started speaking about her that the energy she brings about in the studio is infectious. So thank you so much for joining us on this very special day and this very special broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest here. And I would like to leave with a special little thing for all the Bharat Ki Betis that are watching. May I?
Yes, please, please.
भारत की बेटियां नहीं कम किसी से, तूफान या आंधी नहीं डर किसी से, आसमां में लिखा है एक संदेशा, भारत की जय हो, विजय हो हमेशा. नमस्कार, जय हिंद.
Wonderful.
And on that note, we will head into a very short break, Suyesha, but we continue with a special live and rolling coverage as we celebrate the 76th Republic Day.